All right, so today in class we talked about graphing reflections, and we did that with the rule, and then we checked ourselves by putting it on a grid. So the target for the end of the day today was that we can graph over the x-axis, we can graph over the y-axis, or we could graph over both axes. So the first thing that we talked about, what is a reflection? A reflection is like a mirror image or a flipping of an image. Okay, so it's flipping about a line of symmetry, and today we talked about our lines of symmetry were the x-axis or the y-axis or both. And when we flip, or when we create a reflection, each reflected point is the same distance from that line as the original image. So if we're reflecting over the x-axis, they're the exact same distance apart. If we're reflecting over the y-axis, they're the exact same distance apart. After we reflect, the figure preserves its size, its shape, it's exactly congruent to the original. It's going to look exactly the same. So how do we create reflections? We talked about the 3 rules. If we are reflecting over the x-axis, okay, we're simply going to change the y-coordinate to the opposite. So the rule for reflecting over the x-axis is that we change the y to its opposite. So if you have a positive xy, your reflection is going to be a x negative y. Okay. If we are reflecting over the y-axis, we're going to change the x to its opposite. Okay. So we have a positive x and a positive y. The reflection will be a negative x, positive y. So to reflect over the y, we're simply changing the x to its opposite. Now, if we're reflecting over both axes, we're going to change both x and y to their opposites. So if we're starting with a positive x and a positive y, we're going to change those to a negative x and a negative y. And we talked in class today about how to set up our homework. For every single question, you need to write the rule that you're using. Okay, so if we're reflecting over the x-axis, in this box, we're going to write change y to the opposite. Okay, you're going to list your original coordinates, and then you're going to put your reflection or the reflected coordinates over here where you've actually changed that y to the opposite. And then we talked about how you can check your work on a graph. Graph those 2 points and make sure that if you're reflecting over the x-axis is going to run as a line of symmetry between those 2 points. Okay, so that's how to set up your homework. To get all the full credit for today, you will need to write the rule. You'll need to write the rule, the original coordinates, and your reflection. Okay. All right. Good luck with your work.